Bonjour and welcome to the second ever episode of Car Keys. My name is Reese Hanson and for at least this episode I am your host. The show, as per the title, is 100% about cars.
Think of everything heavy ever.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrifying.
And we leave no room for any messing about at all.
And then you imagine though, big, just smoothie of criminal in a bucket somewhere.
To prove that this show is nothing but serious car journalism, we're going to start off with a mini documentary, review of the best car in the world. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the review of the best car in the world, the Honda Jazz 2009. Now, it has been said that this car is a bit of a grandmother's, an old person's car, but in this video I am going to prove to you that this car is the best, not only for grannies, but for everyone and anyone. This Honda Jazz is an IDSI SE 5DR from 2009 and it was bought recently for just under £2,000 on about 78,000 miles, and the model won the Japanese Car of the Year award in 2001. As did its successor, to be fair, the next generation. So, you know, Japanese cars are very good cars, so that is quite high praise, I must say. But now, the first type of person that this car is very good for, I must admit, is grandparents. Now, I have to admit that the stereotype of this car being sort of a granny, an old person car, in some regard is true. You can see that it's quite high up. Older people generally like that because it means there's less bending down to do to get in the car, but as well as that, it does look a bit like an old person's car. Okay, not a bit, it looks completely like an old person's car, but who's saying that's a bad thing? Possibly me. It's probably my least favourite bit of the car. It doesn't look bad as such. I just don't think it looks particularly good. You're not going to look at it and go, that is the car I want, that is the desirable mobile of my transport. So I have to admit, it does look like an old person's car, and it doesn't look, in many ways, nice, but it's not overly offensive, I would say. There's nothing that's particularly sticky-outy, gaudy, bad about it. So I don't hate it. And let's be honest, there's so many other good things about the car that I really think you can let that one fly. If anything, it's like an undercover weapon, because no one's going to suspect that when you fit a V8 under the bonnet, or even just use the engine that's in there, that it is the machine that it is. They're just going to think it's Doris on the way to do a weekly food shop. So there we go. It's not incredible. You can make your own judgment up on that one, but I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. Now, the second person that this car is particularly good for is not the grandparent, but the parent. Now, I must say, the boot and the space in general inside the Jazz is excellent. You get 353 litres of boot space just in here with the seats up, and that is loads. You can really just disappear and swallow stuff into the car. Like, you can fit all sorts, many bags, all sorts of things. In fact, I brought some stuff to demonstrate, so I thought some stuff that the parents like to put in and use. So I brought a bin. I feel like parents are big into bins these days. I don't really know. I'm not a parent, if you hadn't guessed. And then some stuff that kids like as well, because parents have kids. That's the whole sort of thing. I don't really know what kids are into, so I brought a PS3 controller. I feel like kids still play with PS3s.
Yeah, they should do.
Yeah, exactly. See, so, you know, I'm not saying that demonstrates the full sort of capacity of the boot, but you get an idea for it. And then there's also a bit of space underneath the boot, but there's currently a spare tyre in there, but you can fit some other tools and stuff in there as well. It's very, very good, I must say. And now we'll go on to the middle seat. Now, there is a lovely amount of space in here for your passengers, so as a parent you can put loads of kids in there. I mean 3, obviously, it is the max, and maybe put your own kids, not anyone else's, but they can fit in there in nice comfort. And as well as that, it's insanely easy to put down the seats. I feel like I'm going to say this and it's going to take ages, but if you believe me, where's the... There we go. See, lovely and easy. But once it's down, perfectly flat in line with the boot, so you can genuinely get so much in there. Like you could probably, yeah, you can get a bike in there. I know that's been done. You can get all sorts. It's really good. Genuinely, the Jazz does an excellent job of that. You could move house with this. Just this. Forget all those lorries. Get yourself a Jazz. But now, the next person that this lovely car is excellent for is, of course, the Jazz player. We will find out how the Jazz is perfectly suited to the Jazz player slightly later in the show. But for now, some more serious journalism with the car news. Our first story is actually in reference to one of the stories from last episode. You'll certainly not remember that a good few months back, the Devon and Cornwall police force got loaned a police tractor, and they decided to have a competition to come up with the best name for the farmer turned enforcer. Now, while they turned to humans aged 12 and under, I turned to a Henry. Henry, do you fancy quickly reminding us of some of your name ideas from last episode?
Sorry, I was just reading philosophy about raw love and
about
stuff like that.
Now?
Yeah, one of the ones was the Terrorizer.
Yeah.
We also had, I thought of this now, so it doesn't really matter, but I thought maybe the ankle grinder, like an angle grinder.
Yeah, it's not.
But for
that's
ankles,
not relevant though, is it?
I know. If a policeman went over your ankle, you'd be pretty peed off.
What? There's no.
Concrete crusher, I think was another.
I don't think it was.
Just a slaughterer.
Pretty sure you didn't say that.
All right.
Why are they crushing concrete?
Where else do cars drive? Moron.
Good. Right. Is that it?
Yeah.
Right. Good. Glad I asked. Cool. Thanks, Henry. Well, unfortunately, none of those were selected. Can't think why. And instead, the tractor has been named Inspector Moores. So I must say, well done to 7-year-old Eloise for winning the competition. If you would like to take Henry's place on the show as well, you're more than welcome. Please do. Now, for our next story, we're heading over to Coventry, but don't worry, I'm not actually going to make you go there, and I'm certainly not going myself, but you may well be going there if you work for Jaguar Land Rover. There is good news for you though, because you will now be a lot safer whilst working due to JLR's new mobile security unit, a robot dog. Rover, the robot dog, apparently patrols the factory up to 24 times a day in order to serve and protect those in the factory. If you're sitting there wondering how it does that, me too. Also, if it hasn't been stolen by the next show, I'll give you all $1. Right, next up is some real heavy-hitting news because the car industry is going to crash and burn because Audi workers have been striking in Brussels, BMW workers in Pretoria, Stellantis, who own Abarth, Alfa, Citroën and more, is facing additional strikes in Italy, and even more VW workers are now threatening to strike in December. I mean, if this continues, you can forget about having only new electric cars by 2030, 2035. We'll all be lucky to have any new cars at all. However, having said that, it might not be fully a bad thing because as cars progress, car makers spend their time trying to innovate more and more. And of course, on occasion, this results in something beautiful or quite incredible. Other times, however, it results in the single worst looking steering wheel I have ever seen. I have no idea what Peugeot were thinking, but it looks like they've actually tried to integrate the cup holders into the steering wheel. At that point, you'd be better off just putting your Bovril on the roof. So to fix this, I thought it would be a good idea for Henry and me to come up with some alternative ideas for a new and innovative steering wheel to replace that one.
Be Henry and I.
I put Henry and I. But it's not because...
You just made yourself look like an idiot, that's all.
I actually checked, it's not.
Okay, so we've both brought in some actual examples for you. We've gone the full mile here, and I may regret this, but Henry, would you like to show us one of your examples for a better steering wheel first?
Well, yeah, I've been expecting this question for a while, just generally.
Well, obviously.
I thought someone would have asked me.
I brought this up to you.
No, long before.
Oh.
Before that.
Really?
Yeah. My first one, and I think this one it's good because it's multi-purposed. It's instant underpants. Number 1, spherical shape, so you can use it as a steering wheel. But
so you are beating the Peugeot one there because it's not.
It turns.
Yeah.
But if you put water on this, don't bring a drink into your car. Actually, again, it says what it says about their one with the drinks holders in the wheel. If this got wet, you'd have a pair of grollies on the end of your steering shaft. But yeah, I don't know.
And you think that this is still a good idea?
If you soil yourself in a high-speed pursuit, maybe for police cars, I don't know.
Are you going to use your soiling to make the underpants? But then what happens? How did you
make
drive?
underpants out of poo?
That sounds like that's what you're suggesting.
No, I mean, if you crap yourself, then you can take your steering wheel and wear it.
But how are you going to steer?
You're weird. That was a weird thing.
But how are you steer? Right, take that back.
It's a circle. The case is a circle.
We'll edit that bit out, and if we go back, how are you going to drive once you're wearing your wheel?
Yeah, you just get a new one.
But you're in a high-speed pursuit. There are police blokes behind you.
No, I meant for the police. I'm not going to support criminals.
So
shows where
you are.
Shows where
the police are going to.
All this is doing is showing where your brain goes in the.
I'm going to decide as executive producer, which I just gave myself that role, that's a bad idea, and I'm going to come with one of my own ideas, which is now this is sort of innovation, and it's meant to be spherical, but I've had a printing error. A other wheel. This is along a similar thinking to you, but obviously better.
It's like a spare wheel then.
Well, exactly that. So if suddenly, oh no, I've had an accident, and the tyre's got a puncture in it.
If you've had an accident, you'll need my wheel. So.
No, different adult accidents, not, Anyway.
Adults do. Adults do.
And
it's good though.
The smell. Yeah, but then I'm just thinking, you can pop that on one on, and then I'm thinking like underneath there's like a mini steering wheel, so then you can still steer. Unlike your stupid idea, where if you wear the steering wheel, you're just done. You can't drive anymore.
You just don't understand innovation.
Well, Peugeot are innovating, and they did a bad job. Please do go.
Do you want my next wheel? My next wheel is. Now you could use this is multifaceted, I think.
Yeah, that's a big word for you, man. Reading is working.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's philosophy and it's very smart of me. I've got Judi Dench, and I don't know whether to use her eye specifically, or her as a whole, or just her head. But you could have excellent acting from, like you could have a scene from Cats playing at you while you're driving, gripping onto her ears. I don't.
Actual Judi Dench?
No, just her head.
So we're killing Judi Dench.
She's not dead. She's going to speak to you.
But you're beheading her?
It's called suspended animation, bozo.
They haven't made that.
You don't know. They cloned a sheep, so they can probably do this.
Yeah,
or one of their teeth. It's just an idea. You don't have to shoot down the idea.
No, I do, because otherwise you're just everyone's going to be going around with a head.
It's just interesting. I'm just trying, man.
Judi Dench.
Yeah, she's cool.
We're going to use Judi Dench's head.
Show me yours.
I like to think I've won that argument. I'm not sure. Okay, my next one, a patella.
It looks like
the kneecap. Yeah, it's meant to be in colour, but I ran out of ink. I also accidentally printed it big, but not big enough. This is a kneecap. So you know when people get new knees? Yeah, like grannies and that. I'm thinking we keep the old one. Steering wheel?
But isn't the whole reason it was replaced because it's faulty?
Yeah,
I don't want a manky kneecap.
But it's still a bone. It doesn't work as a joint, but as a steering wheel, it'll be brilliant.
Oh, whose kneecap is it?
Well, anyone's. There's loads of people's. My gran would probably give us one. I think. Oh no, it was hip shit. Probably can't use it. We could use it. We could use any bone.
I have an antler on my wall in my house.
Why?
I just got it from a butcher, but it's sort of similar.
Oh, I don't. Yeah, I mean, I guess you could. It's a bit with motorbike handles.
It's only one.
See, we are coming up with ideas here. Well,
that just exists, doesn't it? Motorbike handle's real.
Yeah, but we're going to set a steering wheels. That's the point of.
You've described a quad bike.
I only have one more.
This one, I think, you could use. I started this with a different idea to what it's turned into now, but it's a pool noodle. Because if you ever drive into a lake or something, you're going to need to stick about. But this cute little fella.
We're
could probably
not
use him
beheading
as
a
well.
child.
No, not his head. What head?
No, what do you mean?
It's the
Any
whole
of it? We're not using
baby.
any of. No, we're not using a baby.
It's not inhumane.
It.
I think that's the next step in.
As a show, I'd
Human
like
evolution.
to say we honour human rights. He might not, but we
Absolutely
do.
not. It's not
but I
human
don't-
either. It's a baby. Moron. But yeah, it's just cool. Everyone likes babies.
Yeah, but not as a steering wheel.
It's not. It's both.
It's going to
Good
be really
idea.
loud.
Think about how cute it would be. You're driving along.
You're going to have to breastfeed it,
You're
man.
peed off. Fine, but you're peed off. You're very angry because
Yeah.
I don't know. You've spilt a delicious peach boba tea on the floor, and all of your popping pearls have popped under your Timberland boot.
Yep.
And you see the joyous laugh of a baby while you're driving, and you grab it. I don't know. Like, it just human affection, isn't it? It's just beautiful. I think it's very it's metaphorical.
I'm not sure we
Should
can
I-
keep that in.
Shall I do my last one?
No, I'm going to do my last one just to sort of break it up because I like this one. And originally, this idea wasn't the actual product, but since you started talking, I think it will be. It's you.
Basically,
now,
Judi Dench,
my
isn't it?
original idea was that it was just going to be a picture of you. And we just enjoy the look, the hat, all of that.
beautiful.
But since you started talking, I am thinking we might behead you and I might put you in my car.
Suspended animation, mate. I'll live forever. It's not even an issue.
But I feel like we don't need to discuss that one.
No,
Probably most
it's
people
maybe
agree.
the most-
Would you like to do your final idea?
It's the most attractive wheel. This is. I want you to use your imagination for this.
Okay.
It's just.
Pixels.
It's called abstract wheel. It's the abstract wheel. Anything you think about
Right.
is what the wheel is.
So your idea is nothing.
It's everything. If your favourite thing, say, I really want a turkey sandwich with 0 butter or mayonnaise. This could be it on a whim.
But that doesn't exist.
Why are you limiting yourself to reality?
Because of
I thought
reality?
we were I thought we were having fun. I thought we were thinking of new things.
No, I
crazy
told you at the
things.
start, this is a serious program. We're
thinking
solving
of-
issues.
I'm trying to think of crazy ideas, and you're shooting them all down.
Obviously. Would you not?
I think it's awesome. Close your eyes, and then open them. Bang! That's anything. That's literally whatever you want.
No, it's a
that could be
rectangle with lots of squares
a
in
full
it.
box set of Sex in the City, or I don't know.
But as a steering wheel.
It's good. I think it's good.
Right.
It's a concept. It's a new
Well,
concept.
Thanks, Henry. I think we might just continue on with real news now. So we're starting off the finishing of the news, weird way to say that, with the new car news. And of course, there is only one place I can start with this, with the successor of the McLaren F1 and P1, the W1. Not only is the W1 McLaren's most powerful production car yet, with its hybrid V8 putting out 1,258 brake horsepower, but around the Nardo ring it actually beat the Senna by 3 seconds. It can also go from 0 to 60 in less than that time too, at just 2.7 seconds, and it has an electronically limited top speed of 217 miles an hour. The party piece is the rear wing, which of course adjusts to make the car more aerodynamic and can lengthen by up to 30 centimeters. But if you've been on social media in the last week, you may have seen that the W1 has some competition. A successor to the LaFerrari, the Ferrari F80. With a hybrid V6, this is also the most powerful road car Ferrari have ever produced at 1,200 horsepower, or just below, which is just 58 less than the McLaren. Where the Ferrari has the gold though is the 0 to 60 time, with a fair margin in supercar terms. The F80 will make the sprint in just 2.2 seconds. Both cars have the same top speed though, with the Ferrari also making it to 217 miles an hour. Both cars are only being made in limited numbers and all have already been accounted for. There are only going to be 399 McLarens made at a reasonable £2 million. There will be more F80s, 799 to be precise, but you will have to shell out a whole nother million, as it'll cost at least £3.1 million. The rest of our new cars all come from the recent Paris Motor Show. Alpine gave us a first look at their new concept car, an electric crossover called the A390 Beta, which is apparently 80% ready for production, so I'm sure we'll be hearing more about that soon enough. They also debuted the last hurrah of the A110, the A110R Ultimate, with 345 brake horsepower, 49 more than normal. This does unfortunately symbolise the end of the A110, as it just doesn't adhere to the new EU safety regulations, but at least it's going out with a bang. BYD were at the show too, and showing off their new Sea Lion 7 SUV based off their Seal saloon platform. And it should be coming to the UK sometime around the end of October, with prices starting at about 45 grand. There was also this beautiful reborn Renault 7, which has been designed in collaboration with the French designer Aura Ito, but unfortunately there are no signs of it becoming a production vehicle just yet. Well, that is the end of our car news now, and I think it's time we got back to the review of the Honda Jazz from earlier. Now, if I am correct, it's now time to see how the Jazz is perfectly suited to the needs of none other than the jazz musician.
Now, here in the interior, you have plenty of nice little gimmicks and stuff like this. For the standard stuff, you've got your radio, you've got your CD player, which is nice, you've got an aux cable, which is very nice, there's not that in my car, and then you've got your nice steering wheel, pretty chunky, which I quite like. It's got a nice texture on it of little dots, but if I forget trypophobia, is that the whole phobia?
Yeah,
you won't be having a good time if you have trypophobia, because it is quite dotty and holy. But anyway, you've then got a few controls on your steering wheel, but not too many. Steering wheel is adjustable up and down as well, along with your seats, of course. Oh, that's quite far back. We've then got plenty of spaces if you want to store your musical instruments, such as this harmonica. You can store it down there. You can store it in here, down in the cup holders if you like, and then what is really brilliant is there is loads of space along the sort of underside of the dashboard on both sides, so you can store your harmonica down there, you can store your harmonica down there, and then of course in the nicely spaced glove box, which has plenty of room in it for your harmonica. So there we go. We've got AC, which works, heater, which works, we've got party news, which is all one needs in a car, really, I'd imagine. And yeah, it's pretty good in here. It's pretty comfortable as well. It's nice and spacious, it's nice and airy, because there is, of course, a roof light. That's not right, is it? Roof. Why is
I can't remember what it's called.
I know, we said it like 2 minutes ago, and now you know what I mean. There's glass in the ceiling. It's very strange, actually, when you think about it. But it's a fairly comfortable place to be. Nice adjustments on everything. Cubbies down here as well, one down there if you want to keep a few change for your parking, for the smokers out there if you fancy having a little fag in your car. You've got a very, very thick ashtray and plenty of room to keep everything. You have, yeah, of course, a nice round knob, which we do appreciate. It's quite small, and it's got this sort of bouncy bit on it like you get in a Fiesta or something, but nice enough, no complaints. So yeah, overall, it's a good interior, man. Like, you, for the price, for the year, you're gonna be happy with this. It'd be brilliant for pretty much whatever you want to do. Yeah. And then, of course, the next person this car is going to be perfect for is the petrol head. I didn't really think of a costume to wear as a petrol head, so I just brought a backwards cap and James May. I thought that might suffice. So he's coming along for the trip with us. But anyway, as you can probably guess, the Jazz is not particularly powerful. It's only got a pretty small engine. It's only got 83 horsepower. There's a van coming towards us very angrily. We pull in. Do you know, I can't seem to do a driving feature without crashing into everyone. You are welcome. Shall I just go in the hedge?
No, why not?
Nah, we made it. We're good. Yeah. 0 to 60 is going to take you 13 seconds. Again, not very quick. Top speed, 106 miles an hour. You're not going fast in the Jazz. But I must say,
one of the big things is the steering is pretty decent. When you're going at slow speeds, like trying to park or anything, it's really, really nice and light. But then when you get moving, get a bit faster, it gets a bit more weight to it. I wouldn't say it's too much weight, but anything, it helps you feel more stable. At first I was like, oh, it's a bit strange, but now I'm used to it. It's quite nice, because it's not like you're gonna worry about every little twitch of the wheel, because you're not gonna move too much. I feel in control, you know what I mean? But it's really easy to drive. Like, brakes, as you just demonstrated, well, I just demonstrated, I don't know why you would do it. Really good, to be fair. It's just simple to drive, which is a massive compliment. But not only is it simple, it's actually quite fun. Like, strangely, and this is a thing that plenty of other people have talked about, when a car is quite low on power, you can quite razz it. You're not really razzing it, because razzing it in this is 30 miles an hour if you're lucky, but it's quite fun because you can just put your foot down and see where you go. Admittedly, like I said, forward but not fast. But how many cars can you just put your foot down most of the time? Not many. If you had a more powerful car, you couldn't do it, but in this you can, and that is fun. It puts a smile on your face. You can whiz around, it's quite good. And as we're going to talk about, you're not worried about it too much, so it just allows you to drive it that little bit quicker. So all in all, I must say, the driving experience in this car is really good. Like, it's nice from the inside, it's fun to drive, and I'm just having a good time. I'm not insured on this for long, but I'll be driving it while I am, because it's good fun. The one thing I will say is the engine, when you're sort of idling or at low speeds, sounds quite loud. It sounds like it's idling really high, but then when you start driving, it just goes away. So it's not an issue, I guess, just an observation. So if you get one, don't worry, they just seem to do that. So there we go. No complaints about the Jazz's driving, and now we're going to the Autobahn. And the final person that this car is perfect for is the learner driver. It really doesn't matter the state that this car is in. It is not expensive. Let's be honest, you're not going to worry too much about how it looks. So it's just perfect. As a parent or as the learner driver, there's a little bit less pressure, because little dent in the side, it doesn't matter, mate, it's the Jazz. Little scratch across the end of it, doesn't matter, mate, it's the Jazz. Brick through the window because you've almost crashed into someone's house, matters a little bit maybe, you know, you might get some glass on you, but it's not a big deal. This also doubles up if you're not a learner driver, because if you've got a bit of a battered up car and you're whizzing around, people are going to get out of your way. You're not going to see anyone who like stops and beeps their horn at you, like being angry or trying to, you know, rear end you or anything, or get up close, tailgate. They're not going to do it because you look like you do not care about your car and potentially your life. So you're going to be left alone on the road. It's a relaxing, invigorating driving experience. And then whack an L plate on there and people are going to stay away from you, man. Like, they are going to be in like your own personal bubble, but it'd be like a mile radius bubble. It's going to be good. So what I'm saying is, you can drive this car how you want. It doesn't really matter. So there we have it, the perfect car for all. Now, last episode we attempted a little feature involving social media. We won't be doing it again. Instead, we thought that this week we'd bring in a guest, and someone that probably won't have as strong opinions as those on X. So may I introduce, with over 6,000 TikTok followers and great knowledge of Norwegian roads, Jonathan Halvorsen. How are you, Jonathan?
I'm good, I'm good. I'm honoured. Good talk, yeah.
Right. Cool. Well, Jonathan, it's great to have you on the show. Obviously, we're going to talk a little bit about cars in Norway, stuff like that. But it'd be good to get to know you first. So, obviously, I mentioned you do some TikTok stuff there, but it's actually not on cars, is it?
It's not. It's more football. So, not cars, but some a famous person would say, Kylian Mbappe. He's not as fast as the cars, but there's a reference at least.
Yeah, exactly. And footballers like their cars. They have some interesting things. Like, they are the people with the personalised number plates. But yeah, I'll tell you about that. I mean, have you ever ran into some footballers in real life, in some big cars or anything? Or are they normally on the coaches?
Sometimes you can see them in cars. You know, footballers are known to get some expensive cars. Yeah. Some are on the more humble side, but usually they are driving in the finest cars. I haven't seen anyone personally though.
Well, I should introduce him. Well, I was going to say partner, not partner, but you know, joint interview and stuff. So
maybe partners one day.
I don't imagine so. So Henry, you know, please.
Yeah, just that stalking. What's that about? Following footballers in their cars and that. Some people might have issue.
I don't know. I think you might have misunderstood. I don't stalk footballers. I just like make TikToks about footballs and stuff. I haven't seen any.
You said
footballs
you
in
run
class
it.
and
You
that.
run into them, didn't you? That's assault.
No.
That is ABH. I did a law A level, so.
No, I don't. I don't crash into footballs like that. I don't. So
Just
I haven't even
checking.
seen footballs in cars.
That's
like
right.
that,
I was just
at least.
checking. Just checking.
Yeah,
And
yeah, of course.
safety's like
Yeah.
my number one. The question I was going to ask: in a fight, who do you think would win between a footballer and a car? The average car, a hatchback, perhaps a 3-door.
Should I answer that?
No, I don't think so. No,
It's just playful.
I think I should cut his mic a sec. So, Jonathan, you obviously
Whimsical.
drive in Norway. Can I ask what cars you're generally driving?
I don't have one personally. I think cars are a bit more expensive in Norway to get, but I usually drive a Volkswagen e-Golf. That's like my go-to, and then my parents also have a good Lexus car as well.
Oh, nice. We got the Japanese and the German there. The e-Golf, that wasn't around for too long, but you a fan of?
I am. It's really easy to drive,
Yeah.
like an electric go-kart almost.
Yeah.
Really easy to drive.
No, that's good. And what are the roads like in Norway? Obviously, you've been driven around here in Salford. They're quite potholy, and that's putting it very nicely. But I just have a feeling that Norway is not going to be quite like that.
I think the roads generally are better, but at some places you can see where there's a lot of mountains and stuff. There's quite like slim roads, difficult roads, but usually I would say they're better. It's easy to fix up as well.
Yeah. No, nice.
Do you know that Norway was actually the smallest group in World War II to actually land on the shores of Normandy? Still managed it though, so fair play.
Yeah, no, I didn't know actually. That's
Because you said about the Germans. I don't know if were the Japanese in World War II? It's the world, so they were probably involved.
Some things happened to
Yeah.
them.
There you go.
We won't. That's
Everything's got a connection. Isn't that beautiful? It's planet Earth for you, eh? Anyway, do you want to say something?
I'm not sure that World War II is the most beautiful of the world's.
Well, look how well we're doing now. It was better than the First World War. Kind of built on a lot of what that started out doing.
Yeah.
Excellent sequel.
Sorry. Cool. I think we might move on, actually, if that's all right. Maybe preference other things. Yeah. So there isn't a big car scene in Norway, but have you ever considered driving here in the UK? I mean, I've never been to Norway, but there is a certain amount of road rage people around the UK. They like to get a bit angry at the cars.
Ronnie Pickering, that was a good one. He was really angry on it.
No. Yeah.
He was you know what I'm on about.
No.
Ronnie Pickering, they didn't know who he was. No, not a clue.
Yeah. So, like, when you're driving around Norway, are you thinking the drivers here are nice, they're letting you through? I mean, what are you like on the road?
Well, actually, I think here in the UK you're a bit more aggressive. I think you drive quite fast in quite tight areas. So I think there's probably more road rage here, actually.
No, that doesn't surprise me. And what are conditions like when it gets to winter in Norway? Because you guys get so much snow. I'm guessing you have chain snow tyres.
And nothing good ever came from going fast in a tight area. Let me tell you that now.
Don't worry about that.
Yeah, well, okay. If we're talking snowy conditions, we change to winter tires, and but it's difficult sometimes, really slippery, and difficult to drive.
Yeah, I'm sure. I must say it sounds like a lot scary. Have you yourself ever been in a crash or?
I have been, not in the winter though, but it was a crash on the motorway actually.
Wow.
So quite dramatic.
Yeah, I'm sure.
High-speed collision, I assume.
Well, yeah. You could say that, but
Rough,
Yeah,
mate.
I think we'll-
Rough.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be me. Wouldn't
Pardon?
be me.
No.
I wouldn't joke about collisions and stuff. That's quite
It's not joking.
quite serious.
Yeah. So you yourself you haven't chosen to drive here in the UK. Is there anything that puts you off, going into it?
No, I think it's of course different because you drive on the other side of the road. So
But a 40-year-old woman bashing the ever-living furniture out of her steering wheel. The beeping thing, the horn. And you're sitting there and you're just trying to get to Aldi. Down their back.
I'm scared, man.
I was scared.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's. Yeah, I think we'll go back to. You were saying you haven't driven here. It's a different side of the road, of course.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there any, would you ever drive here? You continue to live here?
I could drive here. To be
Yeah.
fair, I think just getting used to it. Really, I think that's everything you need.
I was
need to do.
tenderising a steak, just slapping it, really just battering the horn of a car.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so you've been
Like
driven.
an African drum, just pounding it constantly.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think we can probably park that there.
Yeah.
Move on.
She didn't. She kept going.
No, yeah, she's not real.
Yeah, we don't need this to get deep. Just carry on.
No, I don't think so. I was going to ask, you've been driven by me a good few times now. Can we have a review of maybe my car, my driving?
Yeah, I think it's good. I think you're a solid driver.
Oh,
How long have you been driving for?
coming up to 3 years.
3 years? Yeah. I think it's solid. Solid.
Yeah, not bad. Thank you.
Good gearing as well.
Yeah, no, love the car, still going. Not ever driven Henry around. Shame, might have crashed it on purpose.
The old 4 wheels,
Yeah.
the old engine, the old gear stick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Point there. Or
Just vibing with you, man. Just
Yeah.
just feeling out what we're doing.
Yeah.
Just carry on. Yeah.
Connection's
It's good.
palpable.
I don't know. We just got this back and forth, mate. It feels sick. Just carry on.
Yeah. Right. Well, sorry, to continue on the questions here. One thing I've noticed a lot is the bus drivers around Salford. I mean, do you guys have big buses in Norway? You're also a lot less people, a lot more spread out.
Yeah, we do buses, but it's not as big as here. Like nowhere near. There's no double deckers or anything like that usually, at least. So it's way less popular. So I don't think I've ever really taken a bus in Norway. I have, but very rarely, at least.
Do you know any people who smell like cabbage on the buses? Like you?
I don't think I'm going to answer that question.
I just have it. There's a few of them by me, and they reek, they stink. There was this one guy. My friend lives in London. He does sketching, and there's this one fella sitting on the bus. Average guy. He'd been to the shops clearly, and he was just spooning a tin full of beans into his mouth. He got his hand like a shovel and just kept going, just creating mulch in his teeth. And my friend offered him. They said, "Oh, do you want a napkin or something?" Because obviously he was covered in tomato sauce or juice, bean juice. And
I'm not sure this is fully
no,
relevant.
it's relevant. It becomes, and he was like, "No, I'm good." And he kept looking through his bag. He got the receipt for his shopping, mopping himself up. But obviously, it's like a laminated. It's a different material to a napkin, so he's just spreading it around. So picture a man in
Any relevance
in
to
fingerless
cars,
knit gloves,
Norway,
a beanie, just covered in He had a beanie on, which is the ironic thing.
Yeah.
Because he was covered in beans.
Mad.
But yeah, my friend, he took the napkin in the end, but it was pathetic. When you think of buses as well, your next thought, it's like a knock-on effect. I think buses, next thing I think of, bang, double-decker. And that's proper weird. And I think of double-decker, think of the chocolate. I don't know if they've got them everywhere. And when I think of chocolate, it looks a bit like crap. And I think, who poos the most? Babies. And it's unknown, not very well-known fact. Do you know what a meconium is?
No.
It's a word for a baby's first emission, and it's so foul. It's almost green, but it's so foul and sticky.
I don't.
Like tar,
I'm
I think.
not sure.
And it just
Relevance.
reeks. It's got a terrible smell. It's so bad they named it. It's
Yeah.
gross.
Yeah.
Meconium.
Is there a point to that question?
No, it's just sticky, isn't it? It's not pointy.
Yeah, I'm so.
I'm not going to answer that question. I think, thank you for having me on your show.
Yeah, no, of
And
course,
do you
man.
study journalism?
Maybe. Yeah.
Shame on you. I'm not doing this anymore.
I have a
think
poem
I've had
for
enough.
you.
No.
I wrote a poem for you.
No.
No, I don't think we have time for the
Roses
poem.
are red,
No.
violets are green.
I don't think.
Where do you stand on Norway's contribution to World War II?
Okay, right. I think it might be best that we end the show now.
Hold on.
I think.
I need to carry this
No,
on.
don't. No.
Excuse me.
Right. Yeah, I think it might be best we end the show there.
No,
yeah.
no,
Thank
I
you
didn't
so
want
much
to
for
do
watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye. Henry, you need to Henry.
When you think of buses, the funny thing about the UK, or Europe maybe, I don't know how far this spans. Think of